Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Geek with Glasses Live. This is part 3 to my currently undetermined amount of episodes that I'm going to dedicate to the Rift video. In this video, I think we're going to take a look at talent specking for the classes and for your character, and then just do a little bit of a overview of actual gameplay mechanics, what it's like to run around and actually play this game, and you're going to find out that it's pretty much similar to any other MMO that you may be currently playing, whether it be EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, Guild Wars, just about anything out there, Warhammer Online, Conan. Conan I think is completely gone now, but most MMOs all play the same, whether they're free to play or whether they're paid subscription based. Let's just jump in with my level 16 rogue that I've got established. We'll use him since I can actually go through and show all of the components and not have to worry about unlocking specific functions. So here we go. I am currently in this big city called the Sanctum, and it's out here. Actually, I'm just outside the Sanctum. This is our map view, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Let me go over here where we can kind of talk unobstructed without too many other players running around and getting in our way. So let's just kind of stand up here and take a look. So just real quick, let's discuss graphics. Let's talk about the gaming, the graphics engine. And you'll notice in some follow-up videos, and maybe in this video when I run around, you'll get an idea of the depth that the gaming engine brings to this game. For those of you who may have played Warhammer Online, I think you're going to see a lot of similarities, and I think I mentioned that in the very first video. But I think it's almost fine-tuned. It seems like they took the Warhammer engine, whoever produced the Warhammer engine, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's Epic, but I'm not sure. And they kind of defined it a little bit better. So looks like there's a couple of people dueling behind me there. So you can see some of the spell effects. They're pretty intricate, and they look really good. Let me kind of just watch these guys for a minute, and you can check out their spell effects. Yeah, they're kind of going at it. Let's see what we got here. We've got a level 18 cleric up against a level 16, I can't get him, cleric. So 14, level 16 and 14 cleric. So there you go. There's a little bit of the graphics. And as you can see, it's got a really cool feel to it. The effects are really nice. I'm running a NVIDIA GTX 275 overclock graphics card. I'm only running a single card, and I'm running in 1080 by 1650 by 1080 resolution, and pretty much running maxed out graphics. So not completely maxed out. I've got it on ultra, but I don't have it on completely maxed out. And here I'll show you what I'm talking about. If we go into settings, and we go under video and we go under advanced, I'm on the an ultra custom, so I've got a bunch of these things turned up pretty much max, but not completely all the way. If you bump these things up, my frame rate drops significantly. I'm at about 36 frames right now, and it drops down to about 20 if I max everything out. So you get some pretty decent frame rates and graphics levels with the game. The engine looks really nice, really good shadow, really good dynamic lighting. You can see the shadow on my character actually moves and has realistic, actual effect shadow. It's not just blob shadow like some of the newer games are. They're doing some really good things, and some of the patches to Warcraft are giving much better graphics and shadows and dynamic lighting with DirectX 10, DirectX 11. So let's just quickly jump in and let's talk about talent trees. So this game is very unique. You've got the opportunity to really kind of put all your talent points in a single tree and become a master of a specific type of talent spec. They call it they call it soul tree, not soul tree, but soul tree. Or you can kind of divvy your points out across multiple layers. You take a look at my soul tree here. Let's see if I can make this window a little bit bigger. I'm not sure I can. No, I can't. Okay, so here's my current soul tree. And basically what you're seeing is your typical 3 levels that you're used to seeing in Warcraft. For those of you who play Warcraft. And you start off with your initial one that you get from that first quest that you accept that you saw in episode 2 of this series, and then you have an opportunity to expand out to 3 for free within the game. As you do quests, you'll unlock opening up another tree, and you'll get to pick which one. If you remember, there was like 9 of them to choose from. I believe it was 9. Don't quote me on that number. And you get to choose 3 of those 9. Now, if you like, later in the game, you can actually go and purchase for money an additional talent tree. And I'm not sure what the max is. I don't know if it's 4 or 5 or 6. Again, this is still beta and I'm just kind of learning as I go. I haven't spent a long time reading the forums, but you can make it a little bit larger if you want. So Specking is just like any other game. As you reach levels, you'll get points. You'll be able to spend those points. The way this works is pretty easy. This shows you how many points you have to have in the talent tree to receive these actual actions. This line shows you that this talent tree or this soul tree is for the ranger specification and set of talents. I've got 2 points in ranger. Above the line are the points that you're going to put into the tree. So I've got 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 1 of 5, 1 of 1, 3 of 3. And then they correspond directly below to actions that you will receive as you go along. So the last actual action bar spell, if you will, that I've received was a barbed shot. Now, that took a total of, I don't remember how many points, 21, I think. I think as this goes along, no, I don't think it was 21. I can't remember how many points because I've got 21 total. 16 points to get to here. In 2 more points added up here, I will get this next spell, which is Marksman's Pedestal. And then 2 more points in this tree up here will give me this spell, which is Lightning Fury. You'll get the points. So same thing over here. It takes X amount of points to get to a certain level up in the tree, and then as you go, if I were to put 2 more points in this tree to give me a total of 4 points, then I would get this next spell, which is Rejuvenate. So this is a really cool way to see exactly what you're going to get depending on how you're going to build your tree. So if you know you want to be a specific thing, like I'm dedicating myself to marksmanship, I can see where it's going to happen, what types of spells I'm going to receive next, but I can also come over here and go, oh, you know, if I were to put 3 more points over here, I would get track constructs, and that would be really useful for this purpose. So you can really use some strategy on how you build your trees out by seeing what spells you're going to be able to cast. And when I say spells, I'm not referring to major clerics. Spells are just the actions that you're going to, the abilities that you're going to be able to execute. We use abilities from now on. That's a good term to use. So that's how you spec out your character. It's pretty intuitive, and I like the way it really gives you the opportunity to fine grain, define how you want to play your character, and this gives that opportunity to see what's going to happen, how much longer it's going to take, so on and so forth, so you can decide, I really want to get over here to quick reload. If I dump a bunch of points over here, it may give me some benefit now, but maybe not so later. So that's really cool. So Soul Tree is talent spec for those of you who are used to World of Warcraft. That's pretty much it for talent, for speccing your character. So let's just, I haven't run along too much here. We're about the 8-minute point in the video, so let's just talk for a couple of more minutes. I don't want to bore you too much, even though you're going to hopefully click on the next video in the series and then keep on going. But let's just talk a little bit about, I don't know, let's see. So here's your abilities. We talked about each of those abilities that you'll get. These are my ranger abilities, these are my marksman abilities, and obviously you drag these down into your action bar. Here, okay, so here let's talk about this really cool function, which I kind of briefly talked about in the first video, but the ability to customize this view. Again, click on the Edit Layout button. Every one of these windows you can drag and drop and put wherever you want. And so far in the beta, I haven't had too much difficulty. It's pretty much everything has stayed where I've put it. I've seen a couple of small glitches where when I'm in raids, over here on the right, the raid groups will, get a little too close, or one too many people will be in there and they'll overlap. But, that's a pretty cool feature. Here, let's run over here. Just like any of the games, you've got, zoom in on your character, you've got zoom out on your character. It lets you know when you discover new points, you receive your XP bars down at the bottom, just like anything else, letting you know what level you have to go to. You can lock your button bars. You've got multiple button bars down here. So that's pretty much game mechanics. That's, how you spec your characters and get your characters up to par. Oh, and just to answer, I brought this up because I saw the water. This game does include underwater levels, so you can swim in this game, unlike Lord of the Rings Online, where you can't, you just swim across the surface of the water. This game actually includes some underwater levels where you swim. It's not as simple as Warcraft for swimming. It's a little bit different. You don't hold the space bar to rise. You got to tap the space bar to kind of to raise yourself up. But other than that, swimming levels are pretty much the same. And again, I'm going to make comparisons to Warcraft because most of you have either played Warcraft or are playing Warcraft, and it's just the best game to do direct comparisons with. So that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for watching once again. I'm going to dive into a little bit more content in the next video. Maybe we'll actually show some questing. Maybe we'll dive into PvP. I think we'll probably dive into PvP. I know a lot of you are huge PvP fans, and the PvP system in World of Warcraft is excellent. And the PvP in Rift is actually pretty cool too. It works very similar. You've got a little, you know, not a dungeon finder, but an arena finder or a battleground finder. They call them war zones in this game. And we'll talk about the public questing. Maybe those will be the next two things. We'll talk about public quests and PvP in the next episode. So that'll be episode 4 on my series on the Rift. So thanks again for watching. As always, please follow me on Twitter, and that's twitter.com/geekwithglasses, and find me on Facebook, and you can like me there. And that's facebook.com/geekwithglasses. And thanks again for all your support. If you like the videos, show some love, pass on the word. You know, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody you want. Oh, look, there's a rift, and we'll talk about rifts soon. But there's a rift opening up right here next to the main city of Sanctum. Yep, there you go. There's a rift. We'll talk about those in an upcoming video, which is where the game gets its namesake from. So once again, thanks again. Once again, thanks again. We'll say that. How many more times can I say again? Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.